All right, I think we can start our meeting because of time. As we start, also requesting that we share the new link with some of our colleagues who haven't joined kindly, and let's keep our mics off because we we are not using the other webinar that we had a list of attendees and a list of panelists. So all of us have mics, so kindly let's keep our mics off unless you want to speak. So I want to request a volunteer to pray for us before we start our meeting. Faith, kindly pray for us. Faith Ngari. Faith, if you can hear me, please, can you pray for us?
Good morning, Songoken. Sorry, and probably I didn't hear you well. You broke a bit. I'm in a bit of a noisy place. Kindly, could someone else do it for me as I settle?
Okay, thanks. Ajuang?
Franklin, I can pray.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Rose.
Okay. So thank you. Let's believe and pray. Almighty Father in heaven, we come before you this morning with thanksgiving in our life, in our heart. Jehovah, we want to thank you for the good night that you've given us. We also want to thank you for the good health that you've given us and the life that we are enjoying. Father, we don't take it for granted that we are here this morning. Father, we want to commit. We pray that us intelligence that will enable us to according to your will, Jehovah, as we provide to the energy.
Okay, thank you, Rose. I think I have a problem with my network. Sorry, I keep breaking. I hope you can hear me now. Rose, confirm if you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you, Franklin.
Thank you. I think I had a problem with my network, so I had to change. So once more, let me take this opportunity on behalf of NASCOP and the Minister of Health to welcome each and every one of us into this this particular meeting. We've called this meeting to just be able to update ourselves on some of the new changes that we made to EMR as we prepare to carry out our validation, to just get to know how many of our patients are actually currently on ART. So yeah, so thanks, Ross, for projecting the agenda. So this is our agenda. This is our agenda for today. Rose, can I share what I have, or you okay? Yeah, so this is our agenda for today. Dr. Amadiva will take us through through the objectives. Sorry, just give me a second.
Sorry, Franklin, you wanted to share what you have, or do I
continue to share? It's okay. I've shared. Are you able to see? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, yeah. So this is our agenda for today. Dr. Amadiva will take us through the meeting objectives. Then he will be able to welcome Dr. Rose and Dr. Andrew Mulwa. I'm not sure whether Dr. Rose has joined us, but if she's in, she'll be able to also give us some opening remarks. And then we will then be taken through a session to just understand some of the enhancements that we've made to EMR and DWAP, and more specifically focusing on OP as we are geared towards validating our numbers. We will be taken through that by Bernard Otieno. Rose or Faith, kindly help me to mute, or Collins, if you can hear me. Then Andrin Jagi will also be able to take us through the HIS product release highlights, just showing us what exactly we've been able to come up with and how best can those be utilized to help us manage our clients better. Then Faith Ngare will take us through guidelines on national data warehouse uploads and the refreshed schedules. There are also some proposals that we've made and would also wish to communicate the same. And Jared on Sumo will be able to take us through issues around verification timelines, the data dump, and finally we will be able to also hear from our other players, the agencies, Palladium, and finally MOH as we close. So let me take this opportunity to recognize the presence of Dr. Andrew Mulwa, who will be able to also give us some remarks. So without wasting much time, kindly allow me to welcome Dr. Amadiwa Kibisu to take us through the introductory bit and the objectives, and finally welcome
to all of us.
So Dr. Madiva, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Songo, for this opportunity. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all of us to this important call, even as we are moving towards doing the validation exercise. Allow me to take us through the objectives of this important meeting that was set for all of us, especially those of us that interact with the KenyaEMR. One, basically this meeting is supposed to help us reach all stakeholders and sensitize them on EMR, DWAP enhancements that have happened. That will actually help us support the national data verification exercise that will be starting very soon. So I'm hoping that by the end of this webinar, all of us will actually be able to understand how they're going to use the various enhancements within the EMR to actually help us get the numbers that we are looking at. I know this is not a new concept to most of us. And as the Ministry of Health and the NASCOP, we are really working hard to ensure that at least we uniquely identify various clients that we see in our clinic throughout the country. And definitely KenyaEMR is one of the important stakeholders that will actually help us in doing this. As we are doing that, of course, we want to ensure that the new guidelines on a data warehouse upload and refresh schedule is also communicated to all of us, so that even as we think of the enhancements that have already happened when it comes to validation, we also have the new guidelines on data warehouse uploads, so that even as we use the KenyaEMR, all of us will be at par with regards to the new enhancements. And finally, we are going to provide highlights on the HIS products release. And I'm very sure by the end of this, all of us will be at the same level, especially when it comes to the new enhancements. And I'm very sure we'll be able to do the various functions that pertains KenyaEMR, and of importance, of course, the most important activity that is ahead of us, the validation exercise. I'm very sure by the end of this webinar, most of us will be able to do that. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. At this point, I don't know whether Dr. Rose Wafula has joined this meeting, head NASCOP.
Sorry, Dr. Madiva, Dr. Rose is not able to join.
Okay, that's fine. I know probably when she joins, she'll be able to give her welcoming remarks. Dr. Andrew Mulwa, I don't know whether he's still in. Daktari?
Yes, no, I find a cancer.
Kindly just ensure that we mute our mics if you are not talking. Yeah, I think able to give the remarks as we move on. But basically, mine is to once again welcome all of us to this very important meeting. I'm very sure by the end of all this, we'll be able to understand why we are doing all these enhancements. And once again, allow me to thank Palladium and KenyaEMR for ensuring that we ensure that all the enhancements happen within the timeline that we had set. And I'm very sure even as Bernard Otieno is taking us through the various enhancements for the UPI and all that, we'll be able to appreciate all that. And even as he will be giving us the various timelines on how we are going to use the various enhancements, ranging from the data verification exercise and all that, I'm very sure all of us will be able to follow that. And at the end of the day, we'll be able to achieve the objectives of the said activities. And I think with that, I'll take it back to the chair, Songok.
Thank you, Dr. Kibiso, for those remarks. Probably you could reach out to Dr. Andrew Mulwa, because I can see he's still in the call. You can reach out to him. Probably could give us his remarks later. But because of time, allow me to welcome Bernard Otieno to take us through the first presentation. Majorly just looking at some of the enhancements that we've been able to make, and focusing on how we will be able to use some of these enhancements more so on issues around UPI. So Bernard Otieno, kindly you can pick it up.
Thank you very much, Songok. Please confirm I'm audible.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Otieno, proceed.
Thank you. And if you could allow me to share my screen, I think it has been disabled by the host.
Okay, sorry for that. So yes, I think you can now share your screen.
Okay, yeah, so I think, yeah, thank you very much. I think I'm able to share now. Confirm if it is visible from your end.
Yes, it is visible. Proceed.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so good morning, everyone. And I think it's a good morning. I want to take you through the ART patient identity verification using KenyaEMR has already been alluded to by Dr. Kibisu. So this is as a result of the national exercise that is about to take place, where we are going to do the identity verification for our patients. So for this presentation, I just want to take you through a few things. One, the changes that have been made in the KenyaEMR system to accommodate this exercise and to support the validation process. And this also has affected the DURP. So I'll be taking you through the changes that have been made in those two main products for purposes of the verification. And lastly, I'll also share with you some of the processes and some of the steps that we have taken to ensure that this exercise from the HMIS point of view is successful and is adequately supported through our systems. So as I've already stated, there are a bit of measures that we have put in place to ensure that the verification process is fully supported through our systems and also through our process. Point, we have made a couple of changes on KenyaEMR and DWAPI to ensure that now upload the data through the data dump using the DWAPI. We are able to verify the identities of our clients using the KenyaEMR registration module. We've also made measures to ensure that everyone is capacity built in how to set up and use those particular features, and also adequate sensitization for our stakeholders have already been done, and I think this is also another opportunity for us to sensitize and also showcase the steps on how to use the system to do the verification. So just to start, so I'll just start from what has been done on KenyaEMR in summary. So one, now we have enhanced the KenyaEMR registration module to accept the verification using either national ID, birth certificate, or passport number. And this can be validated directly through KenyaEMR, which then can reference the National Central Registry, where if at all this, the details of that patient exist in the Central Registry, then the KenyaEMR is able to show us that and even pull back the UPI number, the patient unique number. Also, for new patients, the same feature has been enhanced, where now, if at all it is a new registration, the details are able to be submitted to the National Central Registry, and the KenyaEMR is able to retrieve the patient UPI number back to the system. So that I think we'll see when I'll be showing you this practically using the KenyaEMR platform. Further enhancements also have been made to support the retrospective verification because we all agree that sometimes during registration, maybe for a reason or two, the system is not able to pull or retrieve the national unique patient identifier. So then that means the user is able to still continue to provide services, but then later on, the system will allow them to come back and conduct that verification at a later time. So that feature is an important one, and I'll show you how it works. Again, as I've already stated, further enhancements have been made to KenyaEMR again, so that for the patients whose identities are already existing in the National Central Registry, the facility doesn't have to create them afresh. So the system is able to pull the details. So all the user has to do is to search for this patient using the national ID. And then if it exists, the system will pull the basic demographics. And then this can be verified by the user and then used as it is to create the patient in the system. And then they proceed with the service delivery. Again, for the facilities that are going to undertake this exercise, there is a report that has been created in KenyaEMR, where you'll be able to list all your patients that have not been verified. So that will help in terms of helping you to either print out the list and share so that people can do the verification as they go along, or also to track the progress towards completing this exercise. You'll be able to know how many have been verified, how many are yet to be verified, so that you can know what measures to take as a facility to ensure that all patients are verified. Again, more enhancements have been done on DWAPI. So DWAPI, for those who are seeing this for the first time, is the tool that are being used in KenyaEMR facilities, in EMR facilities, sorry, to upload data to the National Data Warehouse. So the main feature, the main functionality is to pull data from the EMRs and these are selected data sets, and then submitted to the National Data Warehouse. So then you can be able to see your data reflecting on the data warehouse. So this tool has already been enhanced to support the patient verification exercise, and it is able to pull in the client particulars and send this to the National Registry. So a new docket has been created, and the docket name is Client Registry Services. So this will be used by facilities during the verification to do a one-time dump, database dump to the National Central Registry. And the feature has been tested with other EMRs, including KenyaEMR, the EDAP Care, and also the MRS. So all of those systems are able to use this tool and submit this one-time dump to the National Central Registry. Again, for this tool, another extra summary has been created where the facility is now able to see the number of records or the number of patients that have been pulled from the database that are going to be submitted. And also, most importantly, the total number of TX card. So then the facility or the user is able to see that in my 731 or in my KenyaEMR report, this is the number of TX card that I have. Now, when I'm pulling it using this tool, this is the same number that I get, and they're able to follow that all the way to the National Data Warehouse and see how many were submitted. Okay, so that through the entire cascade, the user is sure that there are no numbers lost along the way. So then they can trace that for consistency to ensure that all data is submitted. So for that, the indicator still remains the same for the total clients, all clients enrolled in the HIV program, while the total number of patients on ART are calculated as per the last completed month. So that is very important so that the user is sure that they are submitting the right data. Okay, so those were the features and some enhancements that have been done on KenyaEMR and DWAPI respectively to support this exercise. But what I've shared is only limited to the verification exercise. But I think as my colleague will present later, you'll realize that in the release that has just come out, there are additional features besides the verification features that have been included, including enhancements and some bug fixes. So that will be shared later. So I want to share with you a bit of the plans that we are putting in place to support the exercise and ensure that the users are going to be comfortable and they'll be able to seamlessly use the features and conduct the verification. So one, I'll talk about what we have done or what we are doing about ensuring that all the users or the stakeholders are capacity built on this process. So one, we have had initial sensitization to some of our duties from the service delivery partner, just taking them through this process, how it is working, what is expected and all. So that was done a couple of weeks ago. Then we've also conducted like a physical training where we've taken partner through the practical aspect of this, how to do the verification using the features that I've just shared. So I believe that most, if not all our partners and the HIS focal persons from the service delivery partners are now well acquainted with how to use this feature. The continuous capacity strengthening. So this is like an ongoing process where we ensure that we have plans to support partners who are maybe having issues with verification using the features that I've just shared, to ensure that we have the materials ready and shared online for use, where the users are able to find the SOPs for this process. And also the service desk, our service desk is already well empowered to respond to any request from the users in terms of supporting them on this exercise. Again, for the user support plans, again, we also, for our partners, you'll be enjoying the partner level support through the various partner cluster leads from our end, and as well as the service desk, as I've already shared. And again, if at all there is anything that might come up that is maybe technical, a bug or something, then our dev are always on standby. They are going to support to troubleshoot any particular technical issue that might arise. So because this exercise is a very sensitive one, so we feel that because of its time-bound nature, we'll be closely monitoring and tracking the process from our end and reporting on the same. So we'll be having like daily engagements, daily check-in calls with our partners to ensure that we know where they are so far as the data dump, the upgrade, and the verification process is. Also from the DWAP side, there are discussions to have additional metrics to kind of just get indication of how many, the proportion of how many clients have been verified and how many are yet to be verified across facilities. And also we'll be able to kind of disseminate this information routinely, internally, and also with our external stakeholders. So then everyone will know where we are with the exercise. So in terms of release, the KenyaEMR and DWAP versions that have these features have already been released last week. So the release is out there, and I'm very sure partners are continuing to conduct their upgrades. The ones that maybe might have issues, we are responding to them through our service desk and also through our partner cluster leads. And I think it has been re-emphasized enough that the upgrade is mandatory, so that all the EMR instances have to be upgraded to support this verification exercise. And again, also to underscore, it will be a good practice for our partners. Once they upgrade a facility, they first of all do the one-time data dump to the central registry using the DWAP tool. So I just wanted to re-emphasize on that. Yeah, so in terms of the key milestones, in terms of what has been done or what is being done towards facilitating and supporting the verification exercise. So I think in summary, we have done the system modification to accommodate this exercise. We have trained our partners and users in terms of how to use these features. But again, we are still continue to have targeted training to any other partner that might be struggling. In terms of the data dumping, the one-off data dump using the DWAP, there was a trial run, which was very successful. So we are sure that the dumping process doesn't have any issues. So in terms of deployment, so this will be put upon our partners to ensure that all their facilities are upgraded within the agreed timeline. And of course, from our end, as I've already shared, we'll be able to do a daily check-in calls with our partner to just track their progress. Yeah, so up to that point, if there are no further questions, then I beg that I just do a small demo on what needs to be done to the users. So if you allow me, Mr. Chairperson, I may continue to do the demo.
Yes, Bernard, I think you can continue doing to do the demo. I've already seen some few questions on the chat, but go ahead with the demo. Then we can pause after the demo to just take a few questions from the participants. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. And also, I think our team is in the call, and I'm sure they'll be responding through the chat just to save time. All right, so let me go right ahead and do a demo. I hope my screen is visible. Bwana Chair.
Yes, it is visible. Proceed.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll do a very quick demo from KenyaEMR's a platform on how to perform or how to conduct the patient verification. So I'm going to do 3 scenarios. The first scenario is I'm going to do a demo with a patient that had already been verified in a different facility and they have come to this facility today. How do we go about that? The second scenario is going to be just a new client who has never been verified from any facility. And the last one I'm going to show is the retrospective walkthrough on how to do the retrospective verification. And I'll show the reports as well as show you the DWAPI. So very quickly, I'll start with the first one. So the first one is a client that is already existing. So we'll just go to the registration. Then it's a new patient. So we'll first of all create a new patient. But now the different thing is that for us, we don't need to create it afresh. As instructed, the facilities now will need to first of all validate an ID, the patient ID before they create them, so that they don't have to duplicate this details. So what the facility will do is just to select the identifier type as national ID, and they'll be able to enter the ID of the patient. So I'm just testing with this. I hope it is existing. So when they validate, if they click validate identifier, they'll be able to find it. And what the system will return is 1, the success that it is available, and 2, the national unique patient identifier number that was assigned initially. So that's the number that the patient will maintain across all services and all facilities. So the number is given there. So the other thing is that now that we know the patient exists, the facility will just need to view the registry information. Now this will be pulled from the central registry. So the EMR will pull this. What I have to emphasize at this point, this process requires internet. So the facility has to be connected to the internet for the EMR to fetch these details. So once the details have been fetched, the facility will just look at these details against the content of the ID. And if everything is correct, they just click use values so that they don't have to create those afresh. So you can see the name is already pre-filled, the first name, the other name, the surname pre-filled. Now we have the NUPI number also has been pre-filled for us. We have the telephone contact and of the address. So this is as much details as could be found from the central registry. So then what this facility will do is just maybe to add in their clinic number. If they want to look at more IDs, maybe the passport number or Huduma number, alien ID or driving license, they can add in those IDs using the more identifier checklist, the checkbox, I mean. If not, then they can just add in maybe the age, the marital status, and all these other details. So there are details that are, you realize that now the registration details, a good percentage of them are now mandatory for you to create a patient. So another field has been added for country, and you can pre-select Kenya because most of a better percentage of our patients come from Kenya. Then the postal address, county, location, sublocation, landmark, nearest health center. Now, next of kin is mandatory. You'll have to enter the next of kin and specify the relationship. Their phone numbers is mandatory. And the postal address if there is. Okay, so you only add those details and then you create. So this has been created locally. It is a client that was verified in a different facility, but they have come to our facility today. So we don't need to post anything back to the registry. We just create the patient in our system. Then we proceed with providing services. So that is the first scenario. Now, the second scenario is where a patient comes in let me just refresh the screen. For the first time in our facility, so the first thing we do is to, first of all, verify their IDs. Let me use this. I hope it is not available, so I'll just validate. Yeah, so this means that EMR is trying to retrieve this ID from the central registry, and it is not found because it has never been created anywhere in the country, okay? So if it is not there, then we are going to create it for the first time. So what we do is now proceed and create this patient normally, and we'll have to specify the ID, the national ID. If we have the clinic number, we just have input the clinic number. Then, as I've said, you can put in more identifiers if you have them. And the name. Which is a male, then I give the age, marital status, occupation, country, we just select Kenya. Postal address, email address. So this time around, you realize that you'll have to input almost everything. Yes, so then at this point, you need internet for you to submit this to the registry. So you post this to the registry, and in our case, we don't have to post because I think the test endpoint has been turned off so that we don't have to submit dummy data. But the moment you say post, what you're going to receive is the UPI number for this client, which again will also be filled here. It will be filled under the NUPI, and then you create that patient. Okay. So in our case, we can't submit because that endpoint has been disabled for now. We can't do any dummy data anymore. So you just create the patient, you proceed with providing the services, and then you can come back later and then and again redo the verification. So what happens in the background is that KenyaEMR tries to verify this client. It will make several attempts to verify this client until it is unable to do that any further. So once it is not able to do it in the background, it will drop it under the pending verifications. And that takes us to the third scenario, where we are going to look at the retrospective client verification. So how will the facility be able to do this? They'll just come home, and then there is new app on the home page called the UPI verification. So they'll be able to click on this, okay? And then from there, they'll be able to see the list of all of the clients that were created in this system but could not be verified because of a technical issue, because of a network issue, because of any other related issue. So from here, they are able to just click on verify client, and then they'll be able to go to the client profile and do the same thing, do the verification as we have seen. And again, from this screen, they are able to see the total attempted verifications, the total verified, and the total pending verifications. Okay, so this window supports retrospective verification, where they just click on client verify client number. They go to the profile, and they can come down and say post registry. Okay? So that's how the retrospective verification is done. So those are three scenarios, as we have seen, how the facility is able to do the verification. And lastly, as I promised, there is a report where you are able to list all the patients with missing unique identification. Any patient that misses the UPI number is assumed not to have been verified, because the moment you're verified, you get one. And that is the one number that you'll be using across all services and across any facilities that maybe a patient might go to. So I'm not going to run this report because I'm sure it may take longer, but it is just a list of patients that have not been verified. So that is what has been done on KenyaEMR to support the verification exercise. Now, for the one-time data dump using DWAPI, so as I already shared in the presentation, there is a new docket that has been added on DWAPI to support this exercise, and it will be able to support the one-time data dump. So for the partners that are going to upgrade their facilities, the moment you finish up with the upgrade, please upgrade KenyaEMR, then upgrade DWAPI. Before you leave that facility, come to DWAPI, you click the client registry services, click the load from EMR. Okay. And once you click on that, come to the extract summary. Hope it's pulling. It is pulling the summaries. So come to the extract summary, check that you have the total number of patients as reflected in KenyaEMR, and also check from the KenyaEMR TX-CAR report to be sure that you have the correct number of TX-CAR. Compare that with what you're seeing on DWAPI to be sure that they are consistent before you post. So the number of current on ART should be consistent with the number of current on ART from KenyaEMR side. So it's good to kind of just do a double check at this point before you upload. So once everything checks out, click send to data warehouse. So that process is very easy. For this particular exercise, it is done once, but then there is that monthly upload that we usually do with all the remaining dockets. But for the last docket, which is the client registry services, you only need to do it once after the upgrade, and that should be fine. So you don't have to redo it again. Okay, so I think up to that point, for the sake of time, I think that is the end of my demo. So in case there's any question or reaction, I want to give it back to the chair. Over to you, Songo.
Thank you very much, Otieno, for walking us through that demo and the slides. I think we've been able to appreciate some of the enhancements that have been made and the dockets that have been created to just help us be able to seamlessly and effortlessly carry out our exercise in verifying our numbers. I think of importance for us and the whole team is to ensure that we upgrade our EMRs to the most latest versions. I think we shared a guide through mail, so we are hoping that after this we should be able to upgrade before we embark on any of our exercises that we've planned to carry out. So thank you very much, Bernard. I can see there's so many questions that have been asked on the chat. The team online they've also been able to respond to some of them. So if I can just quickly have a look at those so that we respond to them before we proceed to the next session, I think that would be fair enough. So Dr. Vakil had asked, please clarify on whether original patient registration number, the 10-digit with MFL code is not replaced and UPI is an additional information to be included in the EMR. Yes, that's true, Dr. Vakil. It's an additional identifier for our patients. So we're still maintaining the CCC numbers. And yeah, Diana has already responded to that. Thanks, Diana. Steve Wanye had asked, would it be good for use values in form button to replace color to say green once clicked by user? I hope, Bernard, I hope you understand what Steve is asking, so that probably you could respond to that. Yeah, so Paul Musingila, why not do a cascade afterward? This makes work easier for data capture. Idris, in case of mandatory fields like the context of the next of kin, what happens if they have no phone contacts? Would it still allow you to progress? I think you will respond to that also. Anthony has responded to Steve, and I said that that is noted. We already thought about it, and will be providing the next. Will be provided in the next upgrade. So thanks, Anthony, for responding to Steve's question. What are facilities without internet connectivity as a patient verification needs internet? Yeah, so I think this is something that probably we definitely have to discuss on and think through it, because for you to access the central registry, you must have internet connectivity from your facility, because that will be the only way you can access the central registry. So it's something that probably we need to think through and have discussions on. The other question from Emmanuel, what happens in situations where the client doesn't have an ID, passport, or birth certificate? Otieno, I think you can respond to that. Could clients that have been verified be marked? That is from Michael Songol. Be marked, displayed with specific color. Okay, yeah, so you can probably revisit that, Otieno. Can we change the word data dump to data upload? That's a suggestion from Dr. Wakil. From Kevin, the population we serve do not have ID numbers. These are prisoners. How will verification be? All right. Okay. Yeah, I know there's so many questions that are on the chat. I would request that maybe Otieno, you can respond to those few, and then we can hold some of the questions so that we can answer towards the end of our tail end of our webinar. Otieno, quickly, you can respond to those few, then the rest we can be responded to after we are done, if that's fine. Otieno.
Thank you, Songok. I think most of the questions have already been responded to, and I think a series of questions that are pending are about the patients that don't have their IDs at the point of registration. So I think just to respond to this, and I think I'll also invite Dr. Amadiva or Jared to respond to this further, is that from the EMR side, if the patient doesn't have, let's say, they don't have a phone number or they don't have any of these required details for verification. So from the EMR point of view, the services will continue. You are able to create that patient in the system. What you can't do is that you can't post the details to the central registry, because those are minimum variables that are required at the central patient registry. But for the KenyaEMR, you'll be able to save and then continue providing these services. But what happens is that now that client will remain unverified in the system. So you can come and maybe later verify them, but they'll remain unverified in the system. The services don't stop. The services will continue. The only gap is that you'll not be able to adequately verify that patient. Yeah, so I think that's what happens from the KenyaEMR side. But now from the registry side, I think I can invite Jared or Amadiva, Dr. Amadiva, to give further clarity. Thanks.
Thank you, Bernard. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Doc, we can hear you. Proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Bernard, for the presentation. Of course, we are anticipating that we'll have clients who will be coming in with the documentation that we are looking for, especially the IDs, the birth certificates, and all that. We have a series of events that we will want various facilities to follow. One, we have those clients that will come in a given visit. They have not carried any of this documentation, but they have those documentations probably at home, or they can easily get them. So you'll give them the service during that visit, and you'll give them a short TCA so that they go collect them and bring them to the facility. So when these clients come, kindly inquire from them whether they have the identification either at home or they can actually get them anywhere. Don't just dismiss that they don't have any identification. Most likely they have them, but they didn't carry. So before you dismiss that they don't have any, kindly make sure that you've really gotten information from them, so that if they have not carried them, you give them short TCS to come back with them at that second visit. 2, we have those clients that don't have. Okay, before I go to that, just as Bernard has said, these clients that will come in and you're giving them short TCS and they've already told you that they don't have, okay, they have the identification at home, but they didn't carry. Of course, at that point, you will not be able to verify them. You'll give them the service. Of course, KenyaEMR will be able to identify them as clients who have come to the facility, but you've not verified them until probably they come back based on the TCS that you'll have given them with the right documentation. 2, we have those that don't have completely. They're coming in, they don't have any ID, they don't have birth certificates. And of course, we are anticipating that probably this might not be many of our clients. What we are going to do, 1, the registry will be able to identify them as unknowns. We might not really verify them as unique clients, but there's a way in which we'll be able to identify them as unknowns. And as that is going on, we advise these clients to go and get the various documentations from the various offices within their locality. Those that don't have IDs, we'll encourage them to go and register for the same within their localities, so that they can actually get IDs. Those with no birth certificates, the facilities will also advise them to go and register for them and even get the various birth notifications and all that, so that with time, they'll be able to update the information within the system. But before they do that, the system will actually identify them as unknowns, and might not really be unique clients per se, but the system will be able to identify them as unknowns until they bring the right documentation. That is the IDs and the birth certificates for the same. For the prisoners, I'm seeing a question on people who are in prison. 1, we know that not all prisoners don't have ID numbers, and we are planning on bringing in the prison department on board. In fact, I think during the weekend, the prison department reached us, asking how we are going to incorporate them into the exercise. And I think we are going to bring them on board because I know when they get their clients in prison, we have information that I normally capture, including the IDs, and even sometimes they end up giving prison IDs and all that. So I think we'll have a meeting with the prison department to see how our facilities within the prison will be able to access either their IDs, or any other documentation that the prison will actually have for these prisoners. So I don't think it will be a problem getting information from the prisoners now that we are planning on treating that cohort of prisoners as probably special, because they've actually reached us and they want us to discuss on how they're going to register their clients and identify them uniquely. So I'm sure that issue will actually be solved now that we want to bring in the officers who man these prisons all the way from top, so that they can actually help us in identifying the clients that they have in those facilities. And again, I think with the prisoners it will be very easy, especially now that we are planning on bringing other people, especially the leadership from the prison, in helping us identify whatever they have in prisons uniquely. Back to you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. I'm also kindly requesting you to probably make a comment on issues around connectivity. So, because there was a question on for the facilities that probably don't have internet, so how will they be able to access the central registry? Yeah, probably maybe you could make a comment on that before we proceed, please. Daktari, are you still in? Daktari? Bernard, confirm if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Probably Daktari can't hear you. If Gerard is on board, he can as well assist Daktari in responding to that. And I think because of time, we can decide to have the other presentations because Gerard has a presentation. He can also plan on addressing some of those issues that have been raised about the client registry.
I'm not sure whether Jared has joined because we tried reaching out to him. Kindly, Faith, you can reach out to him meanwhile as Andrin. I don't know if it's Andrin or Diana who will take us through the next presentation on HIS product release highlights. Andrin Jagi, you can take up the next session. Yeah.
Oh, Franklin.
It's Leon. Okay. So Leon, thanks. Yes. Thanks. Go ahead.
Yeah. So good morning, guys. I'll just share my screen. Oh, Franklin, I'm unable to share my screen. Could you kindly assist?
Apologies for that. You can go ahead now.
So kindly confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, Leon, proceed.
Okay, thank you. So good morning once again, guys. I'm just going to quickly take you through some of the enhancements, new features, and some of the bug fixes that we've done on the release of KenyaEMR and these other products that have come out. So this is going to be very high level. For a comprehensive list of this, you can go to our GitHub releases page, and you'll be able to get a full all the enhancements, bug fixes, and releases. So I'll just go through this quickly. So what are some of the new features that we have on KenyaEMR? We have the eVMMC module. So this is basically VMMC module that helps us capture VMMC data electronically. We have the forms, we have the registers, and we have the reports. Again, we also have the unique patient identifier verification that my colleague Otieno has already gone through. This involves posting to the registry and identifier validation from the registry. We also have another module that is the machine learning module for IIT, that is interruption in treatment. Basically, this is a clinical decision support feature working on the EMR and the national data warehouse for alerting clinicians and public health practitioners on the IIT risk profile of patients. So it's just a feature that uses machine learning to try and predict the IIT risk of our patients. So more of this again can be found on our repository and also on our documentation website. So another new feature that we've added, and we know it would be quite of importance to the users. We have a new report called the Clinical Action Report. Basically, this is just a summary. These are just summaries and line lists intended to improve care quality and avoid errors or adverse events and improve efficiency of HIV care provision. So basically, this is just the indicators that are there, that can help the user at the facility level to make sure that the quality of data that is at the facilities is good. So for instance, we have clients who are HIV positive but not linked indicator, hey, with undocumented HIV status, current on ART clients without a valid VL. So it's just a list of indicators that will just help you clean up your data and improve the quality of care that you're given to the patients. So these are basically just a bit of the new features that we have on the EMR. More on this can again be found on the GitHub repository and our information website. So some of the new features again that we have for DWAPI, we have the posting to registry. That is the one-time data dump that I think Otieno has already talked about. And we also have added a docket for transmitting PrEP information. So as we also upload our data to the National Data Warehouse, we also get an opportunity to upload the PrEP information, which was not there before. So those were just high-level new features on KenyaEMR. We have several new features that you'll be able to interact with. So some of the another thing that we've been able to do, we've done a few bug fixes of the bugs that have been reported from the users again. So basically, these are just some highlights of the bugs that have been fixed. We have a full list of the bug fixes on the release notes that are available on GitHub. So one of the bugs, we had an issue with the loss to follow-up line list, which was including active clients. That has been fixed. We have also updated the missed appointments and loss to follow-up alerts. We have those alerts on KenyaEMR that were misinforming at some times for the missed appointments and loss to follow-up. So we have also done a fix on the nutrition section of the MOH 731, which was not populating well. We had some inconsistencies in the TXML indicator on the dating report. That has now been fixed. We had some issues with the PNS register, which was not populating for existing records. So you get some of the contacts have been linked to the clients, but when you go to the PNS register, it fails to populate. So that has also been fixed. I will go to the next slide. And we also had an issue with the IL node modules for the interoperability layer, where you could get an instance where the interoperability layer and AFIA-STAT were unable to work together. This was an issue with the node modules. The AFIA-STAT listener was using a higher version of the node modules, while the interoperability layer was using a lower version of node. So we've been able to upgrade the node on the IL, and moving forward, this should not be an issue anymore. The compatibility issue between IL and AFIA-STAT has now been fixed. We also had some port conflicts between Metabase and Ushauri consumer. So we've provided a guide on how to solve the port conflict issue. The same for WebADT and Ushauri consumer, where you get facilities or instances that are running WebADT are unable to run Ushauri at the same time. So again, we've provided on guides on how to sort out these issues. All of these guides can be found on with the upgrade package on GitHub. So what are some of the enhancements that we've done? Again, just to reiterate on this is just basically some highlights on the enhancements and the bug fixes, but we have a full list of this on the GitHub repository. So some of the enhancements that we've done, we have a HTS referral for negative clients. So when a client turns negative on the EMR, earlier we were not able to refer them for other services. So that has been now added on the EMR. You can be able to refer negative clients for some other preventive services. There are some been additions on the HTS eligibility form, which was quite shallow. Now we've added several fields on that. For AFIA stats, we've improved on the error queue. The error queue is now editable. Once you're trying to sync data and you run into some errors, you can be able to edit the data and reprocess the queue. So that again informs the next point, where we now are able to reprocess the AFIA stat queues. Another thing that we've also been able to do is to add ETLs on the add-on module. So there is an add-on module on KenyaEMR that enables the users or the partners to be able to add ad hoc forms, or if you want to capture extra data on KenyaEMR and these forms are not available on the KenyaEMR, you can develop your forms through the add-on module, and you should be able to add the forms onto EMR. So the users had a challenge in getting reports from these forms. So we've been able to do an ETL for the add-on module, whereby if you are using the add-on module, you should be able now to get your data through the ETL tables. So moving on to some of the ML applications, we've done some enhancements on the Ushauri dashboard. So if you are using Ushauri, if you get to see the dashboard, we've added some of the charts on the dashboards. Again, this information, comprehensive information, you can get them from our repositories. And also there's been some P-survey system enhancements just to increase on the speed and also just the feel of the whole system. So all of this was just high level, but you should be able to get a full information on this on our GitHub repository that is on the release notes, and also on our documentation website. You can be able to get full information on this. Yeah, thank you for that. Back to the chair. Thank you, Sangok.
Thank you very much, Leon, for the highlights on the on the HIS releases. I really don't want to belabor so much on it because of time, and I want to ask Faith to take us through the next presentation. Meanwhile, I'm requesting participants to just keep asking or posting their questions on the chat. The team is available to respond to them. I've seen so many proposals and questions. If some of them will not have been responded to at the end of this, we will also open it up for a short Q&A session so that we're able to exhaustively and adequately respond to all the queries. Thank you, and over to you, Faith. Faith, if you can hear me, kindly proceed. So Faith will take us through guidelines on National Data Warehouse upload and the refresh schedule. So there are also some few proposals or some few changes that we're proposing, and that is what Faith will majorly focus on. Faith, proceed.
I think we confirm you can hear me, Franklin.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Proceed.
Okay. I'll be a little bit fast, and just in case my background is noisy, Dr. Mudoka, please continue from where I've stopped, but hopefully I will do it very fast. So as Songoka has already highlighted, this is just guidelines on the National Data Warehouse upload and the new schedule. Why this is because we really want some authentic data that can be compared to other repositories like our aggregate systems, that's the KHIS and DATIM. So it is a requirement that all our sites upload data to the National Data Warehouse once every month. And it is important for us also to take note that this individual level data is really helpful at program level, not just at the national level, but at all levels, including the counties and even the facilities who are the sources for purposes of programming, and especially for surveillance, policy making, and also planning. So it is really important. Sometimes we go to the ad hoc section, most of the time, just to get granulated data on individual characteristics of importance when we are developing our policies, and especially during guideline documentation. It's also a requirement that we monitor the National Data Warehouse reporting to track availability of up-to-date quality and reliable data. I will not emphasize on this. I think it is something that has been spoken to a lot of times. So as facilities, it is good to upload data within the month, but the refresh for the National Data Warehouse is done weekly, and the National Data Warehouse dashboard is updated with the uploaded data. It is also important to note that there are fluctuations in terms of the treatment card that have been realized over time, and we can see that our number on ART does not coincide sometimes with what is reported on other platforms. So it would be important for us to make sure that we have timelines that relate to other platforms. And most of the time, it affects us negatively. And as a result, when we go to make comparison, there is negative planning when you're using different sources of data. So we are going to look at just 3 key components. One, a standardized definition of an active EMR list, and we will take effect this month. And then we will look at an updated definition of a stale database. I know this is something that we have discussed in other forums, and also the frequency of the National Data Warehouse refresh and portal update. So in regards to an active EMR list, this has been very inconsistent over time. And this is because we know along the way, we have new facilities that do come on board, and we also have other inactive sites that are dropped throughout the year. And so you might consider what you had in January is very different from what you have in February. And so to streamline this, there is need to promote EMR scale up, which is definitely ongoing. And the guidance is that every beginning of the PEPFAR year, that is October 1, we will define an official EMR list. And what this doesn't mean that any other new facility that is added will not be counted when we're doing the reporting rate. It means that it will be counted. But again, what this means is that once you define your EMR list on October 1st, and why we are using October 1st is because most of our EMRs are donor dependent, and they come on board when the year begins. And that is the reason why we have taken October 1st as our beginning. And so as a result, along the way, if you have any additional facility, it shall be considered, but we shall not consider a drop of a facility or a site that has been made inactive, so that we can be able to have a comparison over the time. And so new facilities can be added onto this list during the year. And for any site that you think is inactive, the removal of that site, that site shall be done at the end of the financial year. That means at September, as we declare our new list at the beginning of October. So this is work that shall be done by the counties together with the service delivery partners on the ground, so that the counties can be able to own up their EMR lists once a query has been posed to them. So every 1st of October, we will have a definition starting this year. You can bring on board new facilities, but you cannot drop an inactive site. It will continue to be part of it until the year is over. And then issues around stale databases. I believe this is something that has been discussed, and even in other forums we have discussed this. And why are we discussing this more is because we really need authentic data or reliable data for use as a program. So some facilities upload stale databases to the National Data Warehouse, and there is evidence of this. And what this means is that these databases lack a lot of information. And I like what part of our colleagues are suggesting. They would like to see TB HIV data, but I can tell you this is part of the data that is rarely completed. And so why we really want to emphasize on ensuring that our databases are well completed is to make sure that all these variables which everyone is interested in, and I'm sure there'll be more coming in, are well updated for use by the respective programs. So we encourage every facility to submit up-to-date databases so that we can all be able to join together in utilization of this data to control the epidemic and also to ensure that we have accurate program data that can be used for monitoring and programming as well. So at the end of every month, NASCOP develops or disseminates a monthly infographic that really shows our performances in terms of reporting rate. And the good news is that some of the state-based databases have always been reported by use of the numbers that have been uploaded into the National Data Warehouse. And the trick that was there is that some sites would just update one data variable for one client, and that would be approved that that database is not stale. So as a result of this, we have realized that it is attracting a lot of incomplete data. And as a result, moving forward, the guidance is that facilities that have uploaded less than 50% of their average monthly visits will be considered as stale. So you have to upload at least above 50% of the data variables for your client at facility level for you not to be considered as stale. And this is calculatable because we can be able to tell your monthly workload, and we can also be able to check on the number of variables that are supposed to be completed. So if you complete less than 50% of this, then your database will be flagged out as a stale database. And as a result, this is going to affect a lot our reporting rate, much as they may not be part of the denominator, but we will flag them out for discussion just to ensure that we increase the number of clients that are being reported to the National Data Warehouse and also availability of more patient level data. Then for DWAPI, DWAPI will be updated to prevent stale and incomplete databases from being uploaded into the National Data Warehouse. And I think the word here is no use of the old DWAPI tool. I think this has been emphasized by my previous presenters. So let us all ensure that we utilize the new DWAPI tool. So before this DWAPI update, facilities that upload this stale database will not be included in the numerator for reporting rates. And I think this I have already talked through. So it's good for all of us to note. So again, in regards to the frequency of reporting, I think it's good for us to know that from this month, this will be effective on the 10th of June of every month. This is to align ourselves to the national reporting platform, that is KHIS. And as a result, also for the warehouse, we will require that our data is updated or uploaded to the National Data Warehouse by the 10th of every month. So only sites or facilities that have uploaded by then will be considered to have reported during that month. Then we will give ourselves about 2 days to do a data quality check between the 11th and the 12th, and an official upload will be done on the 15th of every month, and that is what will be reflecting on the dashboard once you log in. However, this does not stop us from using client level data and most recent data, because you can still go to the ad hoc section, which incorporates changes that have been done weekly, and you can be able to utilize like real-time data because of the weekly uploads. But for official use between or comparison between aggregate platforms, that's KHIS, DayTeam, what is uploaded on the 15th is what will be considered as the official number for the past month. So in summary, and this is my last slide, the active EMR list will be generated on the 1st of October of every month. And then in regards to updating our databases, we have to ensure that we do this by 50%. And if this is not done by 50%, it means then your database will be considered as stale, and it will be flagged out, and we will have a discussion about it. Then all facilities with EMR will be required to upload data on the National Data Warehouse by the 10th of every month, and the official numbers will be uploaded on the 15th. This is after quality checks have been done between 10th and 15th, and that is the number that will be reflecting on the National Data Warehouse dashboard and for comparison between different months in different platforms. And then we expect that the updated guidance will help streamline the reporting process and data quality feedback. And facilities are being encouraged to ensure that the TX card computed in the EMR for the last completed month is the same as what is shown on the DWAPI metric before uploading to the National Data Warehouse. Just to support the last bullet, I really request our HIS colleagues to work very closely together with the M&D colleagues to ensure that whatever is uploaded in the National Data Warehouse is really complement to what is available in the EMR. Because our HIS colleagues just do the uploads, but sometimes there is no quality check to ensure that the numbers are talking to each other. So let there be a close relationship and working and close teamwork between the M&D persons at the facility level and the HIS team, just to make sure that the last bullet is well achieved, to make sure that the work, the data uploaded is truly correct. Thank you so much, Chair, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Faith, for taking us through that presentation. It was very precise, and I think it zeroed down on the communication that is coming in from the ministry to the county teams to take note of. And so I want to, because of time, allow me to just welcome the next presenter. I'm not quite sure whether Jared is in. If Jared is not, I'll request Dr. Kibisu to take us through the next session, focusing on the data dump and the verification timelines. Dr. Kibisu is the chair of the steering committee that is looking at and organizing on aspects around the data verification exercise. So Jared, I don't know whether Dr. Kibisu, if Jared is not in, I'll request you to take up this session.
Thank you, Chair Songok.
Yeah.
And thank you, Faith, for that elaborate presentation. I think Jared is not in, but I'll be able to take a few minutes to just describe a few things that pertain to the data verification exercise. One, I will not make an assumption that all of us understand exactly what's going on, because I realized every time we have a meeting, we always have new people in that meeting that might not really know what's going on. Some keep on asking what exactly are people doing, or even what is this data verification that is being talked about. And I think I'll just take like a minute to give an overview of what's happening. One, by now, I know most of us, if not all, are aware of the problems that we are in as the Ministry of Health when it comes to telling or even coming up with numbers of people living with HIV in the country. It's very difficult to get the exact numbers. When you look at the various data platforms that we have, be it KHIS or even the other client level data like data warehouse that we've seen being talked a lot in this webinar, and even the client information from the various forms in the facilities, we realize that we have huge disparities, and it's quite difficult for us to even tell or even identify a platform that we can use to actually get the right numbers. That's how we ended up coming up with this exercise of ensuring that we come up with ways in which we can uniquely identify our clients. And of course, moving forward, we'll be able to identify our clients uniquely and serve unique clients in our various facilities. And of course, we cannot run away from the thought that we have a lot of duplication in our services when it comes to the clients that we are seeing. And basically this exercise is meant to ensure that at least we only have unique clients which will be given various services in our facilities. So basically for this exercise, the Ministry of Health is going to use unique identifiers from various clients. And by unique identifiers, I mean the legally accepted identification in the country. So far, we are talking of national IDs and birth certificates. Of course, those are the main documents that we are going to use for this exercise. Of course, we have other legally accepted documents that the government uses, including passports, especially for non-Kenyans that are registered in the country legally and they have passports. We can actually use them. And I know some clients might even come in with their driving licenses, or even if they're Kenyans, they will still come in with their passports. But even if they come in with those documents, yes, they are legally accepted documents. But for this exercise, kindly pick the ID numbers from those documents because they're normally shown somewhere in those documents. So when they come with those documents, make sure that you pick the ID numbers for the purposes of verification in this exercise. For the non-Kenyans, you can easily use the passport numbers. Those are the registered ones. And of course, we still have non-Kenyans that are refugees. I've seen such a question. As we go on, we'll be able to respond on how we are going to capture them in our system. So basically, for this particular exercise, the Ministry of Health has already developed what we're calling a client central registry. And from the diagram that I'm sure all of us are able to see, at the top here, we have what we're calling a central patient registry. Basically, this is a platform at the Ministry of Health that basically will help us generate unique identifiers for our clients as they come in. And I think Bernard has explained this very well. When our clients come in, probably in a facility, maybe facility A, they'll be able to give the unique identifiers, let's say birth certificate, if they are like 5-year-olds, or let's say less than 18 years. At this facility, the healthcare worker will be able to enter that information and probably register them into the central registry. And the moment they register them, they'll be able to get that generated unique identifier from the central registry. You've heard Bernard talking about the national unique patient identifier, the NUPI, that will be able to be generated from the central registry. Basically, the central registry will accommodate all our clients that will be able to register into it using the unique identifiers that we've mentioned, the IDs or even the birth certificates. And the central registry in turn will be able to give us the various unique numbers that we'll actually use in our facilities to even uniquely identify these clients, whether you are in facility A, facility B, facility C, or facility D. The importance of this NUPI that is being generated by the central registry is that upon registration, if Amadiva Kibisu goes to facility A and is registered into the central registry and that number is generated, if Amadiva goes to facility B with the same identifiers and the same variables, and he also registers in facility B, and he already registered in facility A, the system should be able to flag out the Kibisu, and this will avoid people registering multiple times in such a way that when this person goes to more than 2 facilities, the same number, if at all they're using the same variables and the same identifiers, the same number that has been generated will actually be given to that person. And at the end of the day, we'll only have this person being identified uniquely once, irrespective of the number of facilities that this person will actually go to. That's actually the importance of us having this central registry that is not unique to KenyaEMR, it's not unique to EDAB, it's not unique to AMPATH, MRS, is actually for all of us, for all the EMRs, including the paper sites. For the paper sites, we'll ensure that they have a web-based app, it's already ready, that will actually also help them uniquely identify their clients, and they'll be able to also register their clients to the central registry, and they'll be able to also get the unique numbers, the NUPI, that will actually help them also identify their clients at that level. That is for the non-EMR sites, the paper-based sites, basically. Because as we've said, this activity has to take place in all our EMR sites, over 3,000 sites. No, not EMR, all our ART sites, and we're talking of over 3,000 sites. And therefore, even the non-EMR sites are actually taken care of in this exercise. So basically, upon identification and during the exercise, the various clients, as they're being identified and validated, just as Bernard has clearly shown us, we'll be able to know the clients that are coming in, we'll be able to know the clients that are being validated and all that. But before that happens, there's something that everyone is talking about that we're calling data dump. Some of us are even giving suggestions on what we should call that. For the data dump, basically, for the EMR sites and the various EMRs, we had agreed, and we had, I think this is something that is already going on, that all data that is domiciled in these EMR sites, of course, for the KenyaEMR, I know every facility has its own data. For other EMRs, I know they control their data centrally. We had agreed that data for all clients that have been started on ART in these facilities, ever started on ART, is supposed to be pushed. This data is supposed to be pushed in one place that we're calling a dump, where everything will be dumped. And I know the various EMRs had already been told on how this is going to happen, and all of them have actually done that. They've actually made sure that they follow the various guidelines that have been put on the dumping. But basically, all data, when it comes to everyone that had been initiated on ART in various facility, so it's supposed to be dumped in that data dump that we're talking about. And basically, as we're doing this verification, this data will actually even help us in tracking, and ensuring that as these clients are coming in, we are able to actually even see and track them according to the clients that are already been dumped from the various facilities. So that even as the exercise goes on, for example, in day one, for example, you can easily see that probably this facility A has verified 15 clients. When you look at probably what they were supposed to verify on this day from the data dump based on those that are current on ART, it is very easy for us to know and even track and say that probably this facility needs to look for these clients, and they also need to look for these other clients and so on. So basically, all facilities, especially with the KenyaEMR, are supposed to ensure that that dumping takes place. They dump all their data forever on ART. That's what was agreed on, to this particular place where every other person is also dumping, the EDAB and even the AMPATH MRS EMR system. So basically that's what was agreed on, and timelines were put with regards to that. I know for AMPATH MRS and EDAB, the process is already ongoing. For KenyaEMR, when it comes to dumping, we know KenyaEMR is also unique in the sense that the various facilities don't communicate centrally, and therefore dumping means going to a given facility and ensuring that that data is pushed. And therefore, we'd agreed after this particular webinar today, that process will start immediately. And we are hoping that by end of next week, that is 17th of this month, that's Friday next week, not Friday next week, but by 17th of this month, that's a period of 2 weeks, all facilities within the KenyaEMR spectrum should have dumped their data into the into that place where I want this data dumped. So for KenyaEMR facilities, that's what we had said. So at the end of this webinar, we are believing that Bernard and your team, you'll put in place a mechanism in which the various facilities will start dumping that data. That's one. Two, we said that we want to start verification almost immediately, and we had put our timelines as mid this month. That is from 14th initially. But we also said as dumping is taking place, for the facilities that have already done that, they can actually start the verification process. So as much as we're talking of 2 weeks for KenyaEMR, we know that as the dumping will not take place at once, we have facilities that will probably have their dumping taking place even as early as today or even tomorrow, depending on how Bernard and team have organized the various facilities. And therefore that means the moment that dumping happens, these facilities should be ready to actually start the verification process, so that the moment they do the dumping, the facilities should actually start verifying their clients as they come, so that we don't really waste a lot of time. And by the time we will be talking of 17th of this month, we are believing and trusting the team, the Palladium team and the KenyaEMR team, that they will have dumped all data from various facilities. And of course, I know we'll have matters that will be arising and all that. Those matters and those issues that will be arising will be taken care of as the process continues. At the Ministry of Health, we have a help desk, of course, that is being led by Jared and team. The help desk is being trained tomorrow, because we are expanding that help desk, so that when you have issues in various facilities, when you have issues in various counties, in various EMR systems, we don't have to wait for a few individuals. For example, we don't have to call Jared for him to actually solve our issues, because we know we are talking of so many facilities, we are talking of many sites, and it will be overwhelming for probably just a few people doing that. So we'll have a help desk, and through the help desk, we'll be able to get the help that we need, especially with the central registry. And I know also at Bernard's level, when it comes to the KenyaEMR, you'll be able to solve issues that pertains to KenyaEMR at that level, so that whatever comes probably to the Ministry of Health will be probably issues to do with the central registry, so central patient registry and all that. So I think Bernard and team, you should be able to have your help desk probably at that level, so that at the end of the day, we'll have that seamless process of ensuring that the matters that will be arising from various facilities will actually be helped, so that we'll have that level of help, which will be escalated to the national team, which will be escalated to the national team if at all that, if at all the Palladium team will not have solved the issue. And especially for the national team, we'll be looking at issues that pertains to the central registry, issue that pertains to the NUPI being generated and all that. And therefore, this team that we're talking about, the help desk, will be able to help the various EMRs and the various sites in ensuring that those issues are actually solved, even as we go on with the verification process and exercise. And of course, as it's already been said, we don't expect this to be smooth at the beginning of the exercise, because remember, this is something that we are just starting, and it might be not work as all of us expect, and therefore all of us should actually cooperate in ensuring that everything works. Make sure you talk to the various levels of help, so that you actually get the required help. And in case of anything, just communicate so that we don't stop the process at some point. I know all of us have been working very hard. Bernard and the team have been working very hard. Jared and team have also been working very hard to ensure that this process is a success. And therefore, even as we are cascading this downwards to facilities, we are hoping that the various implementing partners at the facility level will ensure that at least the process is also a success. And in case of any issues, kindly communicate through the channels that we are actually talking about, so that KenyaEMR or any kind of EMR, be it EDAB or even MRS, should be able to solve their issues at that level before that is actually escalated to the national team, so that we don't have people looking for the national team directly, yet it is an issue that could easily be solved at the EMR level. Or probably it's just an EMR issue that does not really concern the central registry. So it will be very important for us to have those levels, so that at the end of the day, we don't overwhelm the national team also. Because if we just make it open, someone might call to ask for something that is 100% EMR related, that is not even central patient registry related, and the national team will actually be overwhelmed. So the various EMR, I actually ask you to also have those help desks so that we can sieve the information that comes to the national team as we start the exercise. Get apologies from Jared. He's actually in another meeting doing another training, and he was not able to join this particular meeting because I know, being the technical person when it comes to the HIS product, is actually in the position to even look at the system that KenyaEMR has presented to us and tell us whether we are moving in the right direction or not. But I'm happy because we had this meeting last week, and Jared being in attendance, we were able to agree on the various aspects of the system that has just been presented. And I think we're actually good to go. And allow me to thank the various EMRs for really working hard. I know from the Ministry of Health, we've really pushed the various EMRs with timelines and all that. And I'm happy because they have been able to really work around the clock and really deliver. We were not even sure if we could reach the point that we are now, but I think the various EMRs have really surprised us based on how they have worked. And when you look at the product that you already have, all of us are actually happy. And we know that this process is going to happen pretty soon. So the process will take 3 months, as we'd already said. But we are also telling the various facilities to work around the clock and recall their clients so that even before we go for elections, that is by end next month, at least you need to have seen or even verified more than 70% of your clients. I know various counties, various sub-counties, various facilities are putting in place measures to ensure that even during elections, we don't have our clients missing medication and all that. And I know currently some facilities are already recalling their clients to come to facilities so that they can even get medication that will take them through that election period. We don't know what will happen. Of course, we are praying for the best, we're praying for peace, but with the elections, we have a lot of uncertainties. Anything can happen, and it is very normal for us to be prepared in that regard. As these facilities are preparing their clients for that particular exercise, the elections, as they're recalling their clients for that preparation, let them also ensure that these clients that they're recalling are actually verified in their facilities, so that even before we go for elections, by end of July, we'll have most of our clients verified. And of course, I've seen someone asking about what will happen with the clients that are in differentiated care models. We are saying that this is an important process, and we are asking facilities to actually recall their clients, even those that are in the differentiated care models, to come and get registered and verified in the process. For those that are in differentiated care models, when they come to the facilities, basically what they'll be doing in the facilities is just to get registered in the system and get validated without really going through the other processes in the facilities. So expect, even as we're recalling them, you explain to them that as they'll be coming to the facility, they won't take a lot of time in those facilities, especially those that are on DSM, so that at the end of the day, we have everyone identified from a given facility. And remember, we said we'll be tracking this on a daily basis. We'll have dashboards that will actually help us. And I think even Bernard was able to explain how they have ensured that facilities will even be able to get lists and even print them and see who has come, who has not come, who has been verified, who has not been verified. So basically, those will be our checks as the process continues. And we're hoping that the various facilities will actually adhere to the various processes that we are talking about, so that at the end of the day, we have everyone verified from our facilities. Of course, we have the refugees. I may not really call them refugees because, of course, we have refugees, and at the same time, we have those clients from other countries. A very good example is what happens in Busia and Trans Nzoia. We have a good number of clients in their facilities from Busia, from Busia, Uganda, or even from other parts of Uganda that come in to take medication, and they've been served for a very long time. We are not telling you to chase these clients. We don't want you to tell them that you cannot come to our facilities again. They are our clients and we'll still continue serving them. But since these clients don't have the identification that we are looking for, and of course they don't have the Kenyan IDs, they don't have the Kenyan birth certificates, we want the various facilities, the facilities that are involved, especially the facilities that are around the borders, the various borders, the facilities in Busia, the facilities in Trans Nzoia, the facilities in Migori, and all those facilities that have clients coming from other countries, to still serve these patients, because the central registry will be made in such a way that they'll be captured as unknown at the end of the day. But even at the EMR level, I think Bernard was able to show us that we'll be able to show the nationality of these particular clients. For example, someone is coming from Uganda, you'll be able to click that part showing that this is someone that is coming from Uganda, and therefore the system should be able to see that this is not a Kenyan, this is an non-Kenyan, and the system should be able to uniquely identify that person in a unique way that might not really be through the IDs that we're talking about. So don't chase anyone from the facilities as they are coming. Don't chase anyone from the facilities as they are coming. We already have the communication and advocacy team that has started engaging with the various communities, especially the PLHIV, and informing them about this exercise and even telling them what they need for this exercise. So we don't expect any publicization of the exercise. Of course, you know what this means. We are dealing with stigma and all that. We don't expect this to be picked even by any media houses and all that. You know what that means. We want to maintain the confidentiality of our clients as much as possible, even as we are reaching them and explaining to them what they need through their networks, because of course their networks know how to get them and even explain some of these issues to them without necessarily using media or any other form of communication that will ensure that we blow this out of proportion. We are telling us to ensure that we continue keeping that confidentiality of our clients and let this be between the facilities and the various clients that are coming in. Let us not open this up to the various media houses and all that, because if we do that, we'll end up not having this process, and we'll have, of course, breached the various confidentiality clauses that we have when it comes to serving our clients in facilities. And that's why even the communication and advocacy team is meeting the networks and the PLHIV to ensure that they actually understand without really giving out print media and all that. And I think with that, I want to take this back to Chair. We'll be able to respond to various questions that might arise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kibiso, for taking us through that session. And I think one of the things that is very key for us is to ensure that we take this seriously, because it's very critical for us to be able to meet the timelines and ensure that we account for all our clients. And yeah, thanks, Doc. I think you've been able to respond to most of the questions that were asked on the chat, but there's one that is still pending, and I asked you to respond to, just to speak to it earlier on about because for facilities to be able to access the central registry, then it means they must have internet connectivity. So as the exercise begins for the sites that probably have issues with connectivity at the moment, so what would be the guidance for these sites? Because connectivity then has to be continuous, because patients are coming in on a daily basis. I know for most of the sites, they were only able to probably have connectivity during the uploads at the end of the month. But now the requirement is that they'll definitely need to have connectivity throughout for them to be able to access a central registry to be able to validate or verify the patients as they come in and as they do the registration. So probably maybe just a minute, you can speak to that before we proceed. I can see Patrick's hand is up. I'll come to you, Patrick. Just hold on, Daktari. Dr. Kibiso, can you hear me? Okay, I think probably Daktari can't hear me. I can see Patrick's hand is up.
Yes. Thanks, Songok. And thanks, Amadiva Kibisu, for the lovely presentation. So mine is just a clarification, and I would like to know how this will be carried out. You indicated that for paper-based sites, we are going to use, or facilities are going to, there's a web-based approach application that will be used so that we can be able to have this data in a data dump. Now, I know there are some facilities that have already embraced the case-based surveillance using the emerging technologies, either ODKX or ScanForm. So in that situation, and these are facilities that are paper-based, so what is the approach to these facilities? Because I know these facilities also have their data dumped in the National Data Warehouse. Is it an approach that can also be deployed in other paper-based sites, given that the country is fast moving towards emerging technologies, case-based surveillance for the paper-based sites? Over to you.
Without ID.
Okay. Thank you very much, Patrick. I don't know whether Dr. Kibisu can hear us now. Or probably Ross. I don't know whether you are able to respond to this, especially how to deal with the paper-based sites. We know that some sites already have some form of automation going on there. For instance, there's some sites that have scanned forms, and especially sites that are doing case-based surveillance. I don't know whether these sites would also start the process again. I know the proposal initially was the paper-based sites will be provided with tablets where they can be able to then enter all the patients into the web. I don't know what probably you would say about these specific sites that Patrick is talking about.
Okay, thanks so much, Songok, and thanks everybody for your questions. I think those are very good questions, and some of them are eye openers. Allow me to, for the question that you are asking Dr. Madiva to answer on the question that you're asking Amadiva to answer on if facilities don't have connectivity throughout, I believe even Palladium can be able to help us answer that question. I may not be able to answer it at this time, but I believe Palladium has been managing this, and I know the IT team that has been moving together with Jared can be able to respond to that question. So allow me to ask Palladium to respond to that question. In regard to paperless facilities, yes, I think for this particular process, we've agreed that for non-EMR facilities will be provided with the handheld device, that is the tablets, without considering what is currently going on in some specific facilities.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ross, for that.
Sorry, Franklin. So for paperless sites, I was just saying that yes, they'll be provided with tablets, and that is assuming that nothing is going on. But for those that something is already going on, I think we need to take that into consideration and see how we can harmonize those processes. So I believe for surveillance sites that are using the scan device, maybe there are not so many, but I think we can discuss and see how we can harmonize that process. If there are any other facilities that have been given tablets, then I think we will maybe have just additional tablet for them so that we are able to have the processes going on. But of course, we also see how best to harmonize that. So I don't think there is an issue or there's a problem with what is currently going on, but we'll of course harmonize and integrate with whatever system that is available. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ross, for your response. I don't know that there's any hand up. I also want to quickly just look at the chats if there are any questions that have not been responded to. I'm glad the team has been on standby to respond to all the questions that we've been raising. I want to kindly emphasize that after this, we are expecting that all the facilities working with, of course, the county teams, the partners of the IPs, to ensure that the upgrades commence as soon as possible. And please do not dump your data before the upgrade. And please do not start the verification exercise before the upgrade is done. So please make sure that all these steps are taken into consideration before 17th, because we've given ourselves a timeline of 2 weeks, such that by 17 all these processes have been carried out within our facilities to begin. However, for the other EMR sites, I mean facilities like EDAP and the eCare sites and AMRS sites, that's the AMPAT sites, they can continue with the exercise as we had proposed earlier on. Thank you very much. So I can see Francis' hand is up. Our time is, we are 20 minutes past the top of the hour. I know we started a bit late and we do not want to close anyone out. So I would allow Francis Kimonye to probably ask his question. If there is no other question, I will hand it over to Rose Ayugi, who is our team lead at Siri, to take up the next session. Francis, go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Songok. So my question is, if facilities are not able to meet 17th and deadline in terms of EMR upgrade, for those cases, what will happen? Is there room for extension? Because I'm foreseeing, because we are cross-cutting in some region where it removes a lot of logistics to access those facilities. So kindly guide us.
Yeah, Francis, we would really hope that this exercise or these upgrades are done by 17th, and if not, then it will really affect our timelines in terms of verification. Remember, we had actually given ourselves a very short timelines, but because of the issues that arose within the team, and Dr. Kibisu will probably add on this, or Rose will add on this. The team requested for the timeline, I mean, for the schedule to be adjusted. So if for instance, we are not able to carry out our upgrades by 17th of this month, then that would be a problem. And then probably maybe Kibisu, you can add your voice on this and probably provide some more guidance on the same, Dr. Ari. If Kibisu can't hear me, maybe Rose, you could probably make a comment on this in terms of the timelines.
Okay, so thank you, Songok, and thank you, Francis, for that question. I think we have a timeline to work with, and we are even behind schedule. So I don't think we want to leave it open for parties to have their own timelines. So I would just urge that we work within the timelines that we've given on, that is to be up by 17th. In case you have any challenges or you have any issues, I would rather we fast track and consult each other on the challenges and be able to tackle them as they come. But for now, let's have the 17th date as our timeline. And just in case you have any issues, we have a help desk that will be able to link up with you. Let's share and see how we can synergize, help each other, support each other, and just to ensure that we are within the schedule. For now, I really don't want to say that we open up or we give more time. I don't think that is how we want to go. But Francis, be rest assured that we will work together and support just in case where we have challenges. So kindly feel free to communicate and consult as much as you can. We have our HIS team led by Faith and of course Songok. We have Dr. Amadiva and we have me. And of course we have the HIS team from the ministry led by Jared. So kindly communicate promptly so that we are able to support each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross, for the guidance. I think the best way out would be if in case you have any challenges, let's deal with each case separately so that we don't open it up. Remember what Rosa said, we are behind schedule and would really wish that we fast track this process such that by 17th we are done. And by the timelines that Dr. Kibiso has given us, we are done with the exercise and we are able to then sit back and say, yeah, this is our actual numbers and we have validated and we have characterized them and we can say, yes, this is the source where we got the numbers from. So thank you very much, Rose. Because of time, we are way past our time. I want to hand over to Rose to take us through the next session, just to hear from the various players in this, Palladium, DoD, USAID, CDC, and the other stakeholders who are in this call. So from me, thank you very much for finding time to attend this call. I know we had given you a very short notice. We sent out the invite last week, but it was very critical for us so that we are able to be up to speed and update ourselves on the new upgrades that we have come up with to help us again be able to validate our numbers. So asanteni sana, and over to you, Rose.
So thank you so much, Franklin, for taking us this far. And I also really want to appreciate the entire team for that very active engagement. We've come to the end, and I know on the platform, we have our various national support partners. Allow me to give the PEPFAR agencies to give a word of a closing remark. I know Dr. Kimanga is in, unless he has left, but allow me to call Dr. Kimanga to give some closing remarks. The team and the agencies for supporting this process. They've really given us a lot of support, and they've always been around to really just push this forward. So Dr. Kimanga, if you can listen to me, if you're listening to me, kindly a word, a closing remark from you.
Thanks, Rose. Good morning, everyone. My name is Davis Kimanga from CDC. First and foremost, I really want to appreciate MOH leadership in this particular process. I'm seeing that we are actually managing to kill two birds with one stone. At the beginning of the year, we did have a challenge in terms of
Dr. Kimanga, we are losing you. I think we are losing Dr. Kimanga.
Hello?
Hello? Yes,
can
Dr.
you hear me?
We can now hear you, but we had lost you briefly.
Oh,
so yes.
Somebody muted me.
Please. Please.
I know that's Songok. It's okay.
No, I know it's Faith.
Oh, it's Faith. Okay, that's even more interesting. So I was saying that for the last 12 years, we've really been struggling getting a unique identifier. But in the last 2-3 months, MOH stepped in and they've given very clear guidance of how best we can get a unique identifier. I always go back to what happened within the education ministry, in that they just made it a requirement that every child should have a birth certificate. And I think as we stand right now, it should be more than 99% availability of the birth certificate that has now been used to generate the NEMIS number. I'm very excited that through this initiative, we are really moving towards also having a unique identifier for the health sector that is not necessarily for the HIV program, but it's really for the entire health sector. That will go a long way in trying to identify and address any duplicates, and also enable us to track our response at an individual level, which is very, very exciting moving forward. So based on what has been shared today is that from a technology perspective, and for those partners who are using KenyaEMR, and that should be more than 1,400 facilities, the technology is ready. And I'm very happy that we've been taken through the technology, the ability to query the client registry, and the client registry is actually a system that has been developed by MOHHQ, led by Jared, who wasn't able to attend today's meeting. So increasingly, what we are expecting is that in the next 3 months, we should have all our clients on treatment having their MOH issued NUPI, and by extension, even those who are seeking all other services, it will be a requirement that they get the MOH issued UPI areas. So I'm very excited to see this coming to fruition, and we look forward to your support and your help to ensure that this is implemented with fidelity, and that very, very soon we will be able to know the actual clients on treatment within the country, and by extension, having all our clients being issued with the MOH NUPI, and the ability to track them across all services that they are providing, whether HIV or non-HIV. We know that with your support, this is possible. From the CDC end, we are excited and we are happy to work with all our implementing partners and stakeholders to ensure that this has been achieved for all of us in support of this very important initiative from MOH. Asante sana, Rose, back to you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Kimanga, for those remarks, and we really also appreciate your support, without which maybe so much would have not been done. I just want to also find out whether we have a USAID rep on board. We can also just hear from them, USAID, Mr. Egon Peter. If not, a representative from USAID. The list is long and I'm not able to see who is on the call.
Rose, my colleagues are caught up in COP-related meetings. So again, I think on behalf of PEFA, we are all committed to this, and we want to ensure that our implementing partners and ourselves will be committed to make this work.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kimanga, again. And allow me to breach protocol. I think I was not able to see who was on the call, but I know we really needed to hear a word from Palladium, that is Pascal. I know it is not in order that he speaks after you, but just allow me to breach the protocol and allow Pascal to just say a word, if you don't mind.
Rose, thank you. That is a serious breach of protocol.
Serious.
Yes, but I just want to appreciate everyone who's made time for the meeting. I also want to appreciate my colleagues and the community of practice of other developers who've worked together to ensure that this is a reality. Today we had two objectives. One is on the unique persons identification agenda, which, as Dr. Kimanga has mentioned, has been a long time coming.
and we are really, really happy to be where we are now. It's a big milestone in terms of the elevation of use of electronic medical record systems for uniquely identifying patients. The other is also around what we routinely do in Palladium, which is to address any bugs and provide enhancements addressing the different products, and we were taken through that. Specifically, I want to appreciate the feedback that we've received today on the clinical action report. The main goal of the clinical action report that's been included as an enhancement in KenyaEMR is basically to ensure that the quality of the data in the EMRs improves as we provide better care, improve the quality of care to the clients that we see. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that reporting function is being used and the associated line lists, and also to enhance it further as we go forward. Already the feedback that we received today is very good, and we look forward to better engagement going forward. So asanteni sana once again for making time, and we look forward to supporting the ministry and all the stakeholders to improve the technologies that we are supporting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pascal, and we also really appreciate your support towards achieving this goal on verification. So allow me to request David Gitau from the Casco. David Gitau, if you are here, kindly give some closing remark. David Gitau, representing Cascos. So, if David is not in, then I believe Alice Njoroge. I know the chair is not available, he's in another meeting.
Rez, I'll be able to step in for the Cascos.
Thank you, thank you,
yeah.
Eunice. Your voice is unique.
Thank you very much, Rose. And mine on behalf of the Cascos is really to appreciate the team for the efforts that we have put in this. And I think we are really getting to the point where we can be able to identify our clients uniquely. So on behalf of the Cascos, we'll be able to provide the necessary support to just ensure that this sees the light of the day. Otherwise, thank you very much and God bless everyone.
Thanks a lot, Eunice. I know we've always and will always count on your support and the support of the Cascos towards any processes. So we really do appreciate you and the Casco fraternity. The next, allow me to call Olekempua from Kajiado to represent CHRIOs. Mr. Olekempua, if you are listening, kindly give your closing remarks. Yeah, we really look forward for the CHRIOs to even play a bigger role in this, and just to enable to support county and the health facilities to achieve our objectives. So Olekempua, if you can hear me kindly. Any CHRIO on board? We want to listen from you. Okay, seems we are not having any CHRIO who is who could be on board. So allow me to then call on Dr. Amadiva to also to give us the closing remarks and representing the head preventive and curative department, Dr. Mulwa. But before he comes in, allow me to also just say from NASCOP, I think we are very grateful first to the Palladium team to having gone this far in supporting this process. I think we are very grateful that from day one you've heeded and you've gone this far in supporting the process. I also want to take this opportunity to really thank our HIS NASCOP team led by Faith for coordinating this and very successfully being able to bring all of you on board. I also want to thank the MOH HIS team led by Jared for really supporting the system development and being able to also just help us to reach this far. We have a communication team and the communication team, I believe, will be liaising with the people, the community of people living with HIV, so that as we start the process at health facility level, we are also able to engage the people living with HIV in the communities. So we are bringing them on board, and they will start by engaging the national community of PHLIVs, who will be able to cascade the communication to the lower level. So I think this is good synergy and will help us to reach and bring PHLIVs on board, so that even as facilities recalling the clients, it will really not be a difficult task, but they shall have already had this from their counterparts from higher levels. We will also be having a help desk from MOH, as much as we have a help desk from our partners. We'll also have a help desk from the MOH. Will be working together with our partners, and together we can be able to work and support the lower level of the facilities to just make sure that everything is going on as per planned. We'll be able to communicate even with all counties and facilities who will be supporting specific counties, so that in case of any bottlenecks, any challenges, you are able to very fast reach out to them, and you are able to be supported on time. They will be on 24 hours, and it will be a toll-free line, so that you are able to reach them at any time from anywhere that you will be having issues. We really want to fast track this process, and we are happy that everybody, all the stakeholders are ready to support and are really willing, and we will be able to achieve the object of this particular verification process. So on behalf of NASCOP, allow me to really say thank you to all. And we look forward to working together. Kibisu, kindly. Welcome. You have Opanga. Thank you.
So, Ross.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. I think we are on course, and we are doing well despite of having issues with the timelines. But I think generally we are moving on towards verifying our clients. I want to thank everyone, the agencies that have been helping us do all this. I know PEPFAR and other agencies have been in the forefront in ensuring that this happens. The various implementing partners who are picking up this very fast. I think we are doing well, and I really want to thank all of us for ensuring that this happens. This is the first time we are having this kind of synergy from the Ministry of Health, from the various agencies and partners, just as Dr. Kimanga has put it. And I think moving forward, this is how we should be working and even operating. From the two directorates that are involved in all this, that is the Director of Promotive and Preventive Health, and also the directorate that is in charge of monitoring and evaluation and HIS. On behalf of Dr. Sitenei and Dr. Mulwa, I think they're happy with the progress, and we hope that this process will go on as we've planned, and we'll be able to finish with no or very few issues that will be arising as we proceed. Just as Rosa said, support lines will be open to all of us. Let's utilize them. And also, as I'd already mentioned earlier on, I'm requesting the various EMRs to also have their own support systems so that we don't overwhelm the support system that will be set at the national level. And I'm very sure at the end of the 3 months and beyond, we'll be able to verify our clients, and we'll even set precedents for other programs to come and probably benchmark on how they need to take care of various clients, especially the chronic diseases programs. They need to come and see exactly what is happening. So with that, I think from the Office of Director, Preventive and Promotive Health, we are happy, and we wish everyone all the best, even as we struggle with the timelines. Have a good day.
Thank you, Dr. Kibisu and Rose. I want to kindly request Florence Ogero from Kisi to pray for us as we close. Florence, if you can hear me, kindly.
Yes, Samuka, I can hear you.
Okay, please kindly pray for us as well.
Thank you. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we come before you this particular time, thanking you, Lord, for the way you have been with us, oh God, all the programmers, everyone, oh God, who logged into this virtual meeting. Indeed, Lord, we thank you for it has been a fruitful exercise. Lord, how we commit all our plans before you. We know, Lord, that man can plan, but it is you, God, who can bring it to fruition. And therefore, Lord, we just commit all the plans before you, that you go with us, oh God. May you bless everyone, oh God. Bless our patients. May you bless this country, oh God. Even as we are in the election nearing period, oh God, we are praying for peace. We are praying, oh God, my Father, that we will not have any form of violence, that, Lord, people will live together in harmony, and that they will see each other as brothers and sisters, oh God. We thank you. May you be with us. Thank you for the implementing partners. Thank you for the county government. Thank you for the MOH, NASCO, and everyone, oh God, who logged and who managed to log in, oh God. Be with us. We thank you as we disperse, oh Lord. May you go with us and be with us and bless our week. We love you and we magnify you, for we pray, trusting in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a blessed week.
You too.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
just a minute. Nene. Ah. Nene. Oh, me. Waiting, come on.
Ne?